Very good afternoon, friends. This is Rahul Ghosh here. Can all of you all confirm if you can hear my voice loud and clear? Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing after the long weekend? Good. We're still waiting for one or two people. Till we wait for them, let's start with the homework. Have all of you gone ahead and done the homework, guys? Did you mark your odd and answer score for the levels we had discussed? Fantastic. So let's look at, let me just switch on my lab. Just a second. Keep your levels ready, friends. I want to see the zoning time frame and I want to see the odd and answer score written. That is an 8 on 10, 9 on 10 or a 10 on 10. Right next to the level where you have marked your trade. Yeah, let me know whose level I should look at first. I see everybody's lab on my screen. Let me know whose lab you want me to see first. I want the zoning time frame level and I want to see what is your odd and answer score with it. Jet Airways, Aarti, let's have a look. Yeah, let's just open. Aarti, we are opening your lab. Let me keep it so that everybody can have a look. Aarti, you've marked this level. You have, so are you going to take in the upper level or are you going to take a trade in the lower level, Aarti? Upper level or the lower level? The lower level, Aarti, if I'm not mistaken, there is a good monthly income trade in Jet Airways level over level. Have a look at that one as well. That is on the daily execution. Next, who else? Fantastic, Aarti. Who else? Who else has finished? Tata Motor DVR short daily, Monica. Friends, what about the rest of y'all? Please mark your level. I hope you've done the homework and it's not that you're doing it in the class right now. We shouldn't be wasting time in the class. Okay, what is your, can you zoom into that level please, Monica? Okay, on the 15-minute, you've marked this level at 384. And what is your odd and answer score for that level? What is your odd and answer score for the level? 10? Okay, fantastic. Good going there, Monica. How about Balaji, Bhuvaneshwari, Vikas, Gokul, Hitesh, Meenu, Nikhil, Srinivas? Have you all made an attempt? That's okay. Any one level is good to go that I know that you are able to do it. Okay, okay, Monica. Friends, what about the rest of y'all? Balaji, Vikas, Gokul, Nikhil, Srinivas, Meenu. You all should have been ready with this. We shouldn't be wasting time on this during the actual class. Okay, Gokul, Nikhil and Gokul are ready. Let's have a look at Gokul first. Monitor. Gokul, I asked to see the zoning time frame, my friend. Which is your zoning time frame? Refresh your chart, Gokul. Refresh your chart. And go to daily. Go to daily and refresh. See, your time frame is 0 minutes. Yeah, now refresh it. Okay, what is the odd and answer score for that level? Because that is already a tested level, Gokul. I'm assuming you did the plan a little before. What is the odd and answer score of that level, my friend? Nine points before, because it is 2:1. Can you go to the weekly chart, please, Gokul? Okay. Your odd enhancer score is 9 points. Can you check again, Gokul? Can you check the odd enhancer scoring, please? If you have a level that is between 2:1 and 3:1 in reward to risk, what is going to be your odd enhancer score? 1.5 points, right, Gokul? Which makes this level a score of 8.5 on 10. Yeah, the question I was asking is, why have you done it in BSE Jet Airways, and what style of trade are you planning, Balaji? Can you zoom in, Nikhil, into Jet Airways? Can you zoom into that level? Is this correct based on what I have taught, Nikhil? Your leg out is a blue candle. Your leg out is a blue candle or a boring candle. Nikhil, have I covered any concept of that nature? Have I covered any concept of that nature? Although your zone is correct, Although your rationale is correct, but I haven't covered that, my friend. What is the odd and answer score for that level? That's okay, but what is the odd and answer score? And Balaji, what style of trading are you doing when you mark your zone in Jet Airways? What style of trading? Hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly, Balaji? Perfect, Nikhil. Daily. Balaji, what is your location time frame, intermediate time frame, and zoning time frame when you're a daily income trader? Srinivas, please get in touch with IT, or if you should have got this done before, my friend Srinivas, so that we could have discussed it in the session. Mino, I am yet to see your trades as well. Bhuvaneshwari, what about you? Anthony, what about you? What have you all completed it? Balaji, I come back to your question. If you're a daily income trader, what is the time frame? So Anthony, if the session starts at 1 o'clock, I would advise that you get into the lab at 12:30 or at 12 o'clock. Because in the class timing, if you're looking to get into the lab, you're losing out on precious time, my friend. If zoning is 15 minutes, why did you show me a 60-minute level, my friend Balaji? Bhuvaneshwari, I'm still waiting for yours. Minu, I'm still waiting for yours. Friends, I'm extremely disappointed, friends. I'm extremely disappointed. You all have not been taking this seriously. What I want each and every person in this room, and what I want each and every person listening to this recording, friends, please listen to what I'm saying. I want each and every person in this room to start at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow when the market opens at 9:15. Plan an hourly or daily income trade in any one of the stocks in Nifty 50. Hear me out, guys. I want you to start at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I want you to plan an hourly or a daily or a weekly income trade in any one of the Nifty 50 stocks. And when the session starts at 1 o'clock, either you should have already gotten an entry, or you should place an order in the system using the money we have given you and place an entry. I am repeating for the benefit of everybody. You have to start at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yes, and I want you to place those orders. Everybody in this room knows how to place a bracket order? Does everybody in this room know how to place a bracket order? Give me a yes or a no. No, so I'm going to explain how to place a bracket order. Nikhil, just click on synchronize. Just click on synchronize, it should be there. If it's not, let me know. Just a second, friends, just a second. The lab will be open from 1 hour before the session, guys. If the session starts at 1 o'clock, your lab will be open from 12 o'clock. So till 12 o'clock, till 3:30, you will have time to place orders in the system. From 12 o'clock till 3:30, you will have time to place orders in the system. I want you to plan an hourly income trade or a daily income trade or a weekly income trade, and I am looking for an entry, friends. Don't come back and tell me tomorrow that Rahul, I scanned only 5 stocks, I couldn't find a trade. You need to scan 50 stocks if required. Look where you're finding a good trading opportunity and then look to place an order in the system. I will be teaching you today how to place a bracket order in the system. You have the money now, fantastic Balaji. Everybody should be having the money 1 lakh right now. Go ahead and place that orders. I am repeating friends, you need to start this exercise at 9 o'clock in the morning. We have 5 or 6 days left with each other. Let's make the most of it. Let's make sure that we get entries so you're able to understand the concept and experience it first hand in the live markets. Are all of you with me, guys? Give me a yes or a no, please. Tomorrow, when I come to class at 1 in the afternoon, go to F10, click on synchronize. Hitesh, go to F10, there will be one get latest or synchronize. Tomorrow morning when I come at 1 o'clock in the session, I want everybody who have already gotten an entry into a trade or looking to get an entry which is very close by. One of the 2 outcomes you should have. That outcome will not have if you scan only 5 stocks, friends. You need to look for multiple stocks in Nifty 50 to get an entry. Hitesh, it's done fantastic. Couple of rules I want to give everybody, friends, and I want you all to note these rules down. Okay, couple of notes, rules I want to give. Everybody take out your pads and pens and I want to give couple of rules. Rule number 1, I want you to write this down. Rule number 1 is, what if 2 levels have the same odd enhancer score, Rahul? What if 2 levels have the same odd enhancer score? Then what? So I want you to write down then what. If 2 levels have the same odd enhancer score, let me also write it down for the benefit of everybody. Let's go to Notepad. If 2 levels have the same odds enhancer score, then the level which is closest to your higher time frame is the one that takes precedence. Yes, I repeat, if 2 levels have the same odd enhancer score, then the level which is closest to your higher time frame level is the one that takes precedence or is the one that should be used by us. Next, if both the levels are coinciding with your higher time frame, if both the levels are coinciding with your higher time frame and have the same odd enhancer score, I repeat, if both the levels are coinciding with your higher time frame and have the same odds enhancer score, then the level which is closer to your current market price will get precedence. Then the level which is closer to your current market price will get precedence. Did you all understand both these points? Did you all understand both these points? Yes, if 2 levels have the same odds enhancer score, then the level which is closest to your higher time frame is the one that takes precedence. Precedence means priority, Vikas, absolutely right. But if both the levels are coinciding with your higher time frame and have the same odd enhancer score, then the level which is closer to your current market price will get precedence. Yeah, will get precedence. In the case of, one more point, in the case of monthly income trades, in the case of, did everybody understand these 2 points? Meenu, Nikhil, Balaji, Srinivas, Anthony, did you understand these 2 points? In the case of monthly income trades, in the case of monthly income trades, if we are at all-time high or all-time low, if we are at all-time high and all-time low, then the level with the highest odd enhancer score, odds enhancer score, and that is closest to your current market price will get precedence. In the case of MIT, that is when we are at all-time high and we are in all-time low, then the level with the highest odd enhancer score and the one that is closest to your current market price will get precedence for entry. Clear, everybody? Yes? Is everybody clear with this? Next rule. Okay, I'm going to give you a lot of important rules right now. Okay, next rule. While marking your zones, exceptions while marking your zones. And we are going to do examples. Let me finish this, Anthony. Exceptions while marking your zones. In the case of drop base rally and rally base drop, in the case of a drop base rally or a rally base drop, if the wick of the leg-in candle is lower than the wick of the base candles, if the wick of the leg-in candle is lower than the wick of the base candles, then your zone marking happens from the lowest point of the pattern to the highest body of the base. I repeat, in the case of drop base rally and rally base drop, if the wick of the leg-in candle is lower in demand zones and higher in the case of supply zones, higher than the wick of the base candles, then your zone marking happens from the lowest point of the pattern to the highest body of the base for demand zones, and from highest point of the pattern to the lowest body of the base for supply zones. What do I mean by this? Let's look at an example, okay? Let's look at Jet Airways. Let it load. Now turn your attention to my screen, friends. Okay, turn your attention to my screen. Can you see I have a drop base rally over here in Just Dial? Can you see this drop base rally in Just Dial? Yes. Now ideally we mark our zone like this. Would you all agree that ideally we mark our zone like this? Yes. But in this case, would all of you agree that the wick of the leg-in candle is lower than the wick of the base? The wick of the leg-in candle is lower than the wick of the base. Can you see over here? This leg-in wick is lower than the wick of the base over here. What does the rule say? If the wick of the leg-in candle is lower than the wick of the base candle, okay, then your zone marking happens from the lowest point of the pattern to the highest body of the base. Lowest point of the pattern. Would all of you agree this is the lowest point of the pattern drop base rally? Where my cursor is. Would all of you agree that the lowest point of the pattern is this drop base rally over here? I select, go to the top left, mark my zone to the lowest point of the pattern to the highest body of the base. Lowest point of the pattern to the highest body of the base. Yes, Vikas, go ahead. Did you all understand this, guys? If the leg-in wick is too long, it doesn't matter, Vikas. It doesn't matter. However long it is, it should start from there. Let me give you another example. In Reliance, look over here, guys. This supply zone that you're able to see over here, the rally, base, and a drop. Would you all agree that normally you would have marked your zone like this? Yes, no? This is how you would have normally marked your zone. But what does my rule say? My rule says that if the wick of the leg-in candle is lower in the case of demand zones or higher in the case of supply zones, is the wick of the leg-in higher over here? Yes? Can you see the wick of the leg-in candle is higher than the wick of the base? If the wick of the leg-in is higher, then I mark the zone from the highest point of the pattern to the lowest body of the base. Highest point of the pattern, which is this one, to the lowest body of the base, and this is how my zone will be marked in Reliance. This is how my zone will be marked in Reliance. Let's look at one more example. Let's look for a little complicated. If the leg out wick is higher, it will start from the leg out wick also. That is why I said highest point of the pattern. Highest point of the pattern. Look at this example, friends. Look at this example in which I have a rally, base, 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 drop, drop. Okay. Ideally, all of us would have marked our zone like this. But in this case, since my leg-in wick is a little bit longer, I will start from the highest point of the pattern and mark my zone this way. I repeat, I will start from the highest point of the pattern and mark my zone this way. Are all of you clear with this? Yes, no, I don't know, Rahul. There is a gap down between first and second base candle. Does not matter, Anthony. Does not matter. Did you understand, my friend, on how to mark this zone? Yes? Okay, Anthony, fantastic. The second exception. This is in the case of drop base rally and rally base drop. Just a second, guys. This is the problem working with WordPad. Okay. In the case of rally base rally and drop base drop. I repeat, in the case of rally base rally and drop base drop. Yes, if the wick of no, let me rephrase it. We mark the zone from the lowest point of the pattern to the highest body of the base for demand zones, excluding leg-in candles. Excluding leg-in candles. For supply zone, we mark the zone from the highest point of the pattern to the, this is in the case of supply zones. This is rally base rally, and this is drop base drop, CBD. We mark the zone from the highest point of the pattern to the lowest base, excluding leg in. Excluding leg in. Now what does this mean, friends? Okay, let me save this document as rules and exceptions, or let me save it in WordPad. This is a much better format. Let me give you an example first. Let's go to Jet Airways, and Jet Airways on the 15-minute. Now, can you see this drop base drop over here, friends? Can you see this drop base drop? Now, in the case of drop base drop, we mark the zone from the highest point of the pattern to the lowest base. Would you agree this is the highest point of the pattern in drop base drop, where my cursor is? Would all of you agree that the highest point of my pattern is over here? Normally, you would have marked the zone this way. Am I correct, friends? Normally, you would have marked the zone in this way, but in this case, we need to take the highest point of the pattern, which is this one over here, and this is how our zone will come. This is how our zone will come. Let me give you another example. Can anybody tell me this zone? Have I marked it correctly? Yes or no? Have I marked this zone correctly? Yes, no. Because in the case of drop base rallies, if the leg-in wick is lower than the base wick, then I start my zone from the lowest point of the pattern and mark it in the highest body of the base. Yeah? Let's look for another example. Now, how will you mark this drop base drop, friends? Is this correct or is this wrong? Is this correct or is this wrong? What is no? Is it correct or is it wrong? Hitesh says wrong. Vikas says correct. Anthony says correct. Balaji says correct. Gokul says wrong. Leg-in wick should be marked. Gentlemen and ladies, in the case of drop base drop, we mark the zone from the highest point of the pattern to the lowest base, lowest body of the base, excluding leg-in. Can you see excluding leg-in? Is this a drop base drop? Do I have to exclude the leg-in wick? Yes or no? I have to exclude the leg-in wick. And if I exclude the leg-in wick, the highest point of the pattern, all of you will agree, is the base candle. The base wick is the highest point of the pattern. Didn't get you. Okay. Now, what is the rule for the drop base drop, Nikhil? You mark the zone from the highest point of the pattern to the lowest body of the base, excluding leg-in candle. Okay, excluding leg-in candle. If I exclude the leg-in candle, which is the highest point of the pattern? If I exclude the leg-in candle, which is the highest point of the pattern? Absolutely, because base wick, absolutely, which means this is how my zone will be marked. Did all of you follow me? Give me a yes if you followed me. Give me a no if you have not followed me. One more example. Now, how do I mark this rally base rally? Can somebody tell me? Look at the pattern carefully and tell me how will you mark this level. From lowest wick of leg out to highest body of the base. Balaji, absolutely 100% correct, my friend. Bhuvaneshwari, from the wick of the base to the leg out wick. Absolutely correct, Bhuvaneshwari. Anthony, highest wick of the first base candle to the lowest wick. Perfect, Anthony. Excellent, guys. This is a rally base rally, friends. In the rally base rally, we mark the zone from the lowest point of the pattern. Would you all agree? First of all, this is the lowest point of the pattern, this leg-in. But here, we have clearly mentioned we are excluding leg-in. If I exclude leg-in, my lowest point of the pattern becomes over here, this leg out. This is how I would mark my zone. This is how I would mark my rally, base, and another rally. Everybody clear with this? Yes, no? Shall I mail all of you all this document, friends? I think that should be good, because it's an important document. Or do you all want to take a screenshot? Yeah, okay. I think it's better I mail it. Let me make a proper document out of it. Exceptions for zones. Okay, that I've already marked. This is rules for odds enhancers. Rules for odds enhancers. Just give me a second. Let me just beautify the document a little bit. Very important point, excluding leg-in should not go unnoticed. Highlight. Excluding leg-in should not go unnoticed. Highlight. Unnecessary space in the case of MIT. This is in the case of rally base rally. Let me write that also. And this is in the case of drop base drop. Coincide. Yeah, file. There you go. CMP in caps. Okay, file, save as. Rules for odd enhancers and exceptions. Oh. Exceptions. Yeah, so this is done, friends. Now we will got why our zone did not work. Good. Jet Airways got a stop loss. Srinivasan, excellent. Tell me which was the level. Let's analyze it. Good news if you've gotten a stop loss. Which time frame was it in Jet Airways, my friend? Balaji, now you're asking for advice. No, which time frame? 90-day, 15-minute, is it? Let's check. You're planning to be a daily income trader. So this is your closest daily zone. You can also plan a monthly income trade over here, level over level. If I go to the 15-minute time frame or the 30-minute time frame, let me zoom in. I have a level over here and I have a level over here. What level got stopped out, my friend? Srinivas? This is where you should be planning the trade. 498.15. On which time frame, my friend Srinivas? $498, 15-minute. You're talking about this level. Am I correct, Srinivas? You're talking about this level? Yes. So the rule: if two levels have the same odd enhancer score, if you do your comparative analysis, you will see this level has a 10 on 10 score, as well as this level will have a 10 on 10 score. Both the levels will have a 10 on 10 score. Anthony, my friend, you wanted an example. Lovely example. If two levels have the same odd enhancer score, then the level which is closest to your higher time frame is the one that takes precedence. Would you agree this coinciding one is the closest? Srinivas, Balaji, Monica, yes, therefore this was an incorrect trade to take. This was the right level to take, my friend. Yes, don't get confused. Let me go back to that document. If two levels have the same odd enhancer score, then the levels closest to your higher time frame or coinciding. Let me mention that so you all don't get confused. Coinciding is the one that takes precedence. Did you understand my rationale, Srinivas, my friend? It doesn't matter, Srinivas. I have given absolute rules. I have given the rules in black and white so that there is no ambiguity कि राहुल ये zone लेना है या ये zone लेना है या ये zone लेना है. Will you all agree? I have removed ambiguity completely. Normally people come and tell me that Rahul, I find it difficult to say which is the correct zone to take. Therefore, I have given you these two rules that 100% removes ambiguity. Perfect, Srinivas. I'm glad you know it. Rahul, close is a relative term? Absolutely not. You tell me. Let's say I have two zones over here. Okay? Yeah, audio is better now, friends. Now let's consider this scenario. Okay, okay, let me give you a better example. Let me go to a better example. And I want all of you to pay close attention, guys. What is this? Yeah. Ashok Leyland. Okay. Let's say I'm looking to plan very difficult without having already let's go back to the same example, guys. This should be easier to understand. Now, friends, please pay attention. Okay, let's for a second assume. Okay, let's for a second assume, and I want all of you to pay attention over here, friends. Let's for a second assume that all these levels are a 10 on 10 score except the last one. Okay, please pay attention over here, friends. All these levels are a 10 on 10 except the last one. Okay, now is this level going to be correct? That is level 1. Is level 2 correct? Or is level 3 the right level to take the trade if all three have the same odd enhancer score? I want everybody to answer. Vikas, my friend, what do you feel? A zone with CZ. What is CZ, Vikas? Coinciding. Absolutely right, Vikas. You will notice that the level that is coinciding is the one that is closest and has precedence. So there is actually no ambiguity, my friend. We have removed all ambiguity. Now let's consider another scenario. What if both the zones are coinciding and both the zones are 10 on 10? What if both the zones are coinciding and both the zones are a 10 on 10? Then the upper level or the lower level, which one? %50 on the first level, 50%. Anthony, but as per my rules, that is a good way, I don't deny it. But as per my rules, which is the better zone to take a trade? I want to know level 1 or level 2, guys. I'm getting confused with your terminology. Let me put a 1 and let me put a 2 over here. Level 1 or level 2, as per my rules, which one I'm going to take a trade in? Level 1, Gokul says level 2, I will take at level 2. But what is the rule, my friends? The rule says that if both the levels are coinciding with your higher time frame and have the same odd enhancer score, then the level which is closest to your current market price will take precedence. Then the level, which level will be closer to your current market price, upper one or the lower one? The upper one will be your closest current market price. You might say, Vikas, that you will take level 2, but let me ask you a question, Vikas. What if this was the size of my zone? Okay, let's say this was the size of my zone and I had one level over here and I had one level over here. Anthony, will you still, I'm just randomly drawing something to give you an example, friends. Still, would you take 50 and 50, Anthony, or would you take level 1 and level 2, Anthony? Still, will you take 50 and 50 or take level 1? Absolutely right. Then I would take level 1 into consideration. All of you clear with this? Give me a yes or a no, please. Yes, I'll be mailing this document to you so that we are completely eradicated any type of conjecture. Srinivas, Tata Motors, Arly got triggered. Let's have a look, Srinivas, my friend. Tata Motor DVR. 5-minute level, Arly income. Which is the level that you're talking about? Let's first mark the 60. 60 says this is my closest demand. 60 says my closest supply is over here. Let's move all this. Okay. Prices have touched this. Okay, if it's touched it, then we'll move up and mark this. Sure, Balaji, I'll write it down right now. Clearly, we are in the lower end of the curve and looking to buy. 5 and 10 minute. 10 minute, I have one level over here. The rally, base rally, nothing else that looks good. On the 5 minute, I have one level over here. I have one level over here. and I have one level over here. But my friend Srinivas, all the 3 levels will not give you a 10 on 10 score. Will you agree with me? All the levels would have a lower odd and answer score, and when the odd and answer is not 10 on 10, we shouldn't be taking a type 1 entry, my friend. We should be taking a type 2 or a type 3 entry. And I will be explaining tomorrow what type 1 and type 2 and type 3 means. Yeah, the 265 level, I know Srinivas. I wouldn't have taken a type 1. My odd and answer score is not 10 on 10, my friend. Yeah, did you get it, Srinivas? Yes, no, yes, okay, fantastic, Srinivas. Friends, also I want to show you guys how to place a bracket order. Yeah, how do I place an order in the system? Let's look at the same Jet Airways example we were talking about. Okay, most of you know this, but for the benefit of everybody else, I want to discuss. A bracket order, friends, is a type of order in which your entry, stop loss and target are placed at the same time. I repeat, a bracket order is a type of order in which your entry, stop loss and target are placed all together at the same time. What is the advantage of doing this? What is the advantage of doing this? Yes, you can set it and forget it, plus your risk management rules are in place. Your risk management rules combine both legs of the order, absolutely. And let's say I'm planning a level in Jet Airways. Okay, I'm randomly just taking a level to explain bracket order. Let's say I want to mark this as a rally base rally with an entry, with a stop loss and with a target. Okay, target at 2:1. All I have to do to place a bracket order, and even though most of you know this, I have to reiterate for the benefit of the new people, you have to double click on your entry line, friends. That's it. Once you plot your entry, stop loss and target, all you have to do is double click on your entry line. And when you double click on your entry line, you will see automatically your entry, stop loss and target is populated in the window. Can you see automatically your entry, stop loss and target is populated? Yes. This quantity that you're seeing over here, 148. Friends, I repeat, this quantity that you're seeing over here, which is 148, that quantity is coming because we have already set our risk per trade as 1,000 rupees. Yes, because we have already set our risk per trade as 1,000 rupees, that is how we have placed this quantity. I will show you going forward on how you can modify this quantity, how you can modify the risk per trade, how you can modify your position sizing rules. I will explain this going forward. All you have to do is double click on the entry line. Your entry, stop loss and target is populated. You go ahead, press on place and click on confirm. Press on place, click on confirm. And this is the same for demand as well as supply, guys. I repeat, this is the same for demand as well as supply. Clear? Give me a yes or a no, friends. We'll come to all of that. Bhuvaneshwari, right now I just want you to understand on placing the order. Limit loss to is generally 20-30 paisa close to your stop loss price. It is lower than the stop loss price in the case of demand zones. It is higher than your stop loss price in the case of supply zones. About 20, 30 or even 50 paisa is okay. If the price is so far Srinivas, we'll have to place an alert in the system. That is, right click, add to price alert. Can you see add to price alert? Right click, add to price alert. Whenever Jet Airways price comes below 488 or 486, give me an alert that buy Jet Airways, buy Jet Airways on the 60-minute chart at 483.80. Yes, whenever Jet Airways comes below 486, this alert will pop up that buy Jet Airways at the 60-minute chart at 483. I click on add and I click on close. I have noticed that there is a price difference on marking demand zone in your chart, in my chart, difference of 2-3 rupees. Anthony, that could be because of settings, my friend, and it could be because I have marked this trade as a wick to wick trade and not a body to wick trade, my friend. If you notice, I have marked this trade as a wick to wick trade and not a body to wick trade. Show me the settings. Sure, Anthony. Right click, settings, show post close data, adjust with market hours, have to be check marked. I repeat, show post close data, adjust with market hours, have to be check marked. Everybody clear? Yes, no? Okay, fantastic. Let's take a small 10-minute break, friends. Okay, let's take a small 10-minute break, and after we come back from break, I'm going to start the concept of gaps. I repeat, after we come back from break, I'm going to start the all-important concept of gaps. Let's just take only a 10-minute break, friends. Yeah, see you after the break. Or you want to take a screenshot? There you go. Let me make it a one size bigger also. There you go. Check. Okay, everybody back from the break? Jet Airways has come into demand. 483. Look at the vertical fall in Jet Airways. Bank of India is down 8%. What is happening to the public sector banks? I think it must have come out with results. Anyway, let's go to the new concept of gaps. Let's open it up. Okay, what is a gap, friends? Now, a gap is nothing but the white space that you see on the chart between two candles, friends. Now, note over here. Can you see between this blue candle and this green candle there is a visible white space? Can you see between this green candle and this green candle there is a visible white space? Can you see between this candle and this red candle there is a visible white space? These white spaces are what are called as gaps. Basically, if the closing price of the previous day is lower than the opening price of the current day. I repeat, if the closing price of the previous day is lower than the opening price of the current day, then it is called as a gap on the upside. Or if the closing price of the previous day and the opening price of the current day, there is any difference, easier to understand, it is called as a gap. Yes, they are a result between as a great imbalance in between supply and demand. Prior to the gap, prices was moving in a normal manner, but suddenly price moved away so fast that we do not have continuous candles but an empty space on the chart. This empty space is what we called as a gap. Remember, friends, 99% of all gaps happen overnight. I repeat, 99% of all gaps happen overnight. Only 1% of the gaps happen intraday. Only 1% of the gaps happen intraday. Otherwise, 99% happen overnight. Yeah. Now, as we know that gaps represent an extra danger. Srinivas, I'm going to come to that, my friend. As we know that gaps represent an extra danger when talking about risk management, but they also represent opportunity if you know what you're looking for. Now, you will notice that before our market opens at 9:15, there is a pre-market session that happens between 9 and 9:14. I'm sure everybody is aware of this. Before market opens at 9:15, there is a pre-market session that happens at 9 to 9:14. Between 9 to 9:08, friends, between 9 to 9:08, there is an order matching that takes place. I repeat, between 9 to 9:08, there is a order matching that takes place, and this order matching is nothing but a bidding between the various big players. This is nothing but a bidding between the various players. For example, if somebody bids, I am interested in buying DLF at 100 rupees. Somebody else says, no, I expect DLF to go up. I am willing to buy DLF at 101. What if a third party says, no, I am expecting DLF to go even higher. I am willing to buy it at 102. Then DLF that closed 99 rupees the previous evening will open at what price this morning? Then DLF that closed at 99 the previous evening will open at what price this morning? It will open at 102, where the next active bidder is. The next person or the highest bidder is at 102. Therefore, DLF will open at 102. This space between 99 and 102 happens during order matching every day morning, Srinivas, and that is why majority of the gaps happen overnight. And that is why majority of the gaps happen overnight. Clear, my friend? Clear, or does anyone want me to repeat it? Clear? I see a couple of people typing. All right. I'll quickly repeat it for everybody's benefit. From 9 to 9:08 every morning, there is a pre-market routine that takes place which has order matching by the bigger players. Normally it is very illiquid for us to take part in, friends. In this order matching, let's assume if DLF closed at 99 rupees the previous night, somebody might bid saying 100 rupees, somebody might bid saying 100.50, somebody might bid at 101, somebody might feel no, it is going to skyrocket and bid at 102. Now, DLF that closed at 99 rupees the previous night will open at the price when the next highest bidder is. At what price is the next highest bidder at? The next highest bidder is at 102, which means that DLF that closed at 99 the previous night will open at 102. This gap between 99 and 102 is what is called as a gap, friends. This difference is called as a gap. RP is asking, can retail investors have any idea on what price any stock will gap up or gap down? That's why we use zones, RP. That is why we use zones. How many of you in this room are in stocks XLT or options XLT? One of the two. How many of you in this room are either in stocks XLT or options XLT? Any one of the two. And how many of you are not? If you are, say I am. If you're not, say no. But not attend. No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So you will see there will be a lovely lesson on gaps even in XLT. But normally, friends, if you're in core strategy, you will see that the gaps will play in your favor. If your analysis is correct, the gaps will play in your favor. Nikhil, did you understand how gaps are formed? Did you understand how gaps are formed, my friend? 99% of gaps happen overnight, friends. 99% of gaps happen overnight. Which demand level is the strongest? Where do we give 2 points in our odd enhancers? Where there is a gap. Would you all agree with me? Therefore, gap levels are supposed to be one of the strongest levels. Mino, good to see you answering. I didn't see you earlier on in the session. Now, let me show you some examples of gaps. Okay. Let's go to Nifty. Okay, Minu, but please have a look at the recording. Look over here, friends. Can you see there is a very visible white space? This is called as a gap. Look over here between this candle and this red candle and between this green candle and this candle. There is a very visible white space and this is called as a gap. Again, look over here between this boring candle and this leg out. There is a very visible white space again called as a gap. How are we going to use the gap, friends? How are we going to use the gap? Please pay attention over here, guys. Just a second, friends. Please hold on. Now, please pay attention to this rule. And the rule is that, as some of you might be knowing, significant gap plus boring candle, significant gap plus boring candle makes that particular boring candle an exciting candle. I repeat, significant gap plus boring candle makes that particular candle a exciting candle. Have all of you learnt about people who are not new? Have you learnt about significant gaps? Have you learnt about pro gap zone drawing and novice gap zone drawing? I don't think you would have learnt about that, friends. That's not a base level concept. Pro gap zone drawing and novice gap zone drawing is an advanced concept, so I don't think you would have learnt about all that. Yeah, okay, excellent. So we'll come to that. We'll come to that. Now, significant gap plus boring candle makes that particular candle an exciting candle. Now, what do I mean by a significant gap? If the next candle formed, let me write it down so it's easier for all of you. Significant gap is if the next candle formed is beyond the range of the previous candle, then only is it considered as a significant gap. Okay, then only is it considered as a significant gap. Okay, if the next candle formed is beyond the range of the previous candle, then only is it considered as a significant gap. Now, this rule of significant gap plus boring candle is exciting. Let us try and apply this rule now. Okay, now look over here. Would all of you agree I have a drop over here and a base over here? Would you agree I have a drop over here and a base over here? And would you agree this next candle is completely beyond the range of this previous candle? Would you agree that this candle over here is, what is range? Range is basically high to the low. High to the low is called as the range. Friends, my system is gotten hanged. 1 second, please. Sorry about that, guys. So what does range mean? Range means nothing but the high to the low of this candle. Would you agree that this candle low is clearly above this candle high, and therefore this is a significant gap? Would you all agree this is a significant gap? Therefore this blue candle, which is a boring candle, has a gap before it. So gap plus boring candle makes this particular candle where my cursor is. I repeat, gap plus boring candle makes that particular candle where my cursor is as an exciting candle. As a exciting candle, and therefore I can mark this as my drop, base and a rally, friends. I can mark this as a drop, base and a rally. The new friends of mine, are you all understanding this example? Yes, no, I don't know, Rahul. Okay, fantastic. Can you draw where? Can you draw what? What do you want to see? Tell me. I'll go ahead and draw. Anthony, what do you want me to draw? Rally ends where? This is the zone, my friend. So I would mark this as a drop. I would mark this as a base. Okay. And I would mark this as a rally. Drop, base and a rally. Clear? Anthony, is it making sense to you now? Anthony, my friend, did you follow it? Let's do another example to make it a little clearer. Look over here, friends. Okay, look over here. Now, would you agree I have a drop, I have a base, and this candle's range is almost or actually above the range of this candle? Yes, no? Absolutely right you are, Anthony. Always remember that this is true in the case of leg outs only, friends. This is true in the case of leg out only. I repeat, this is true only in the case of your leg out. And in all cases, this is a drop, base, significant gap, and this becomes your leg out. I mark my drop, base, rally. This is how I mark my demand zone. This is how I mark my demand zone. Yes, let's look at a supply zone example. Sun Pharma. Now, look over here, friends. I have a drop. I have a base. Would you agree there is a significant gap over here? Would you agree there's a significant gap over here? And then this boring candle becomes my exciting candle. This boring candle over here becomes my exciting candle. Therefore, I mark this as drop, base, and another drop. This is my leg out. I mark my drop, base, drop level like this. This becomes my drop, base, and my drop over here. Are you all following me, guys? Just give me a yes or a no. Arihant, Balaji, Nikhil, Minu, are you all following me? Okay, fantastic. This is true only in the case of significant gaps, friends. This is true only in the case of significant gaps, which means that can I mark this as a drop base rally? Can I mark this as a drop base rally? Yes, no? Yes, indeed, Anthony, yes. I cannot mark this as a significant gap. Why can I not mark it? Because do you see, this candle is not beyond the range of the previous candle. This candle is not beyond the range. This is only a normal gap. It is not a significant gap. They are two different concepts, friends. There is gap and then there is significant gap. Range should not overlap. Perfect, Nikhil. I couldn't have put it better myself. The range should not overlap. Therefore, I cannot mark a zone over here. This is wrong. But can I mark this as a drop base rally? Can I mark this as a drop base rally? Absolutely perfect. Yes, I can mark this as a drop base and a rally. Everybody clear with this? Give me a yes or a no. Now, there are two styles of gaps, okay? There are two types of gaps. One is called as a pro gap and one is called as a novice gap. I repeat, there are two types of gaps. One is called as a pro gap and one is called as a novice gap. A gap in the same direction of the trend is called as a novice gap. I repeat, a gap in the same direction of the trend is called as a novice gap. A gap in the opposite direction of the trend is called as a pro gap. I repeat, a gap in the opposite side of the trend is called as the pro gap. Yes, same direction of the trend, novice gap, opposite direction of the trend, pro gap. Okay, I'll tell you how we are going to use it, but let's look at some examples first. Okay, now you are going to give me an answer, friends. I'm not going to answer. This gap over here, is this a pro gap or a novice gap? Where I have marked my line, that gap over there, is it a pro gap or a novice gap? Novice, novice, absolutely, this is a novice gap. Oops, let me remove this because it is in the same direction of my trend. It is in the same direction of my trend. What about this gap, friends? Okay, 1 minute, let me just move the page. Lovely. What about this gap, friends? This gap that happened over here, is this a pro gap or a novice gap? Is this a pro gap or a novice gap? All of you will agree that the trend was down and this gap up that happened over here, I repeat, this gap up that happened over here was in the opposite direction of the trend and thus is called as a professional gap or a pro gap. Therefore called as a professional gap or a pro gap. What about this gap over here, friends? Pro gap or novice gap? Perfect, pro gap. Good going, Gokul, Srinivas, Nikhil, good going. What about this gap? Pro or novice? This is a novice gap. Clear everybody with the concept between pro gap and novice gap? Yes, since we don't have much time left, I'm not going to get into how to mark zones with pro and novice gap because I want to start that fresh. Let's do a quick exercise, friends. Okay. Let's do a quick exercise and let's say we are planning to mark a weekly income trade in Bank of India. Okay, I want all of you to mark a weekly income trade in Bank of India, and I want to see the zoning time frame with the odd enhancer score, and I'll be checking your labs. Weekly income trade Bank of India, guys, based on all the rules that we have studied thus far. Let me know once you guys are done. And please mark a good looking level, guys. Weekly income trade, Bank of Baroda. Bank of India, Minu and Monica. Bank of India. Okay, Nikhil is done. Let's open Nikhil's lab. Where did the lab go? Nikhil, 240 pay, you're planning an NT over here, but what is the odd and answer score? Is it, Nikhil? Are you sure? Are you sure, Nikhil, that's the odd and answer score? Because I can see only one candle in the leg out, Nikhil. Yeah, excellent, Nikhil. Let's move on to the next one. Who was it? Balaji is done. Meenu. Okay, Meenu, let's have a look at yours. Meenu, monitor. You have to take a type 2 or a type 3 entry. I am not very happy. Which is your zone, Meenu? You haven't marked that zone correctly, Meenu. If I am correct, is the leg in wick lower than the base wick? And that has only one candle in the leg out, Meenu. It's not a 10 on 10. See if you can find a better level. Balaji. Balaji, can you please zoom into that level? No RR, then don't take a trade there. Don't force yourself into a trade. No, zoom into the zone because I think you've made a mistake in marking the zone, Balaji. Balaji, zoom into the zone, please. Control Q. No, that zone which you've already marked, just zoom into that. No, the small one. I can see the entry and stop loss is in a smaller zone. Yeah, but that zone looks incorrect. I can't see the zone, Balaji. You have to move your screen a little bit. The zone is gone out of the screen. No, that's not a good zone, Balaji. And you've marked the zone also wrong. 1 minute, let me take control of your system. Give me a minute. Which time frame were you on, Balaji? Ah, 60 is it? See, what is this zone, Balaji? It's a drop, base, and there is no significant gap. Can you see this wick is coming to the range of the previous candle? The wick is coming to the range of the previous candle, so it's not a significant gap. Hence, you cannot mark a zone like this. And even the upper zone that you marked, I don't think will have an odd and answer score of 10 on 10. Yeah. Let's have a look, friends. Anybody else? Aarti says she's done. Yeah, coming Vikas. Okay, score of 9, which means you would have to take a type 2 or type 3 entry there, Aarti. Not a good looking level, you will have to agree. Not a good looking level. Vikas. Bhuvaneshwari, what about you? Okay, fantastic. I'll have a look, Bhuvaneshwari. Okay, because you have a black screen, so it's difficult. What is the odd and answer score? 7. Can you zoom into that portion of the zone, please? Because please zoom into the zone. Where are you looking to enter, Bhuvaneshwari? I don't see any entry and stop loss lines. Yeah. Where that zone, where is the leg out? Because the leg out candle is within the range of the previous candle. It's not a significant gap. You cannot mark a zone that way. That is correct, Aarti. And or would all of you agree that we are getting only a level 9 score or a level 10 score level? Level 9 or level 8 score level. We are not getting any 10 on 10. Yes, no? Which means what? We cannot plan a good level right now. But if I plan a monthly income trade, this would be my closest demand. You are absolutely right, Hitesh. This would be my closest supply. If I extrapolate this, I would be in equilibrium. What is my trend on the weekly, friends? What is my trend on the weekly? Absolutely, my trend on the weekly is up, which means I'm looking for a buy. Now, where am I going to buy? I have one zone over here. I have one zone over here. I have one zone over here. I have no other good zone apart from one over here. Yes, would you all agree with me? In this case, friends, we are going to take the one that is closest to your current market price because it's a monthly income trade. In this case, we are going to take the one that is closest to your current market price. All of you clear? Yes? There was no good looking zone on the weekly. Remember one more very important point for trend, friends. Very important point for trend, and we'll do examples about this tomorrow. In trend, if the current move into consideration, if the current move in consideration does not break the previous high or the previous low, if the current move in consideration does not break the previous high or does not break the previous low, then we can ignore it completely. Then we can ignore it completely. What does this mean? Now, in this Bank of India example, if I was to look at the trend on my weekly, this is the current move into consideration, friends. The current move says that the previous high was over here, the previous low was over here. Would you all agree with me? This was the previous high and the previous low. This move, does it break the previous high or does it break the previous low? Does it break the previous high or does it break the previous low? No, if it does not break the previous high or if it does not break the previous low, then we can completely eradicate this move. I repeat, then we can completely eradicate this entire move. Clear, everybody? That which means the trend will still be up, but you will have certain instances where it might change the outcome. That is why I have mentioned this, very, very important. That is why I have mentioned this, very, very important. How long should this move stay? What do you mean by how long should this move stay, Aarti? Like it spends a lot of time, it doesn't matter. If it does not break the previous high and previous low, we ignore it. We ignore it, Aarti. No, if it is sideways, Aarti, then anyway it will be equal highs and equal lows. So then this rule anyway does not apply. When there is equal high or equal lows anyway, it doesn't apply, right? But if it happens something like this, let me give you an example. Now, if it is something like this, what would you say is the trend right now, Aarti? What would you say the trend is right now? Bajaj, Balaji, what would you say my trend is right now in Bank of India? Where is the equal high or the equal low formed? Because if I am understanding correctly, high, higher high. Now, low, higher low. This current move has not broken this high or this low. The last high and the last low has not been broken, which means I eradicate these three candles and my trend continues to remain on the upside, Aarti. Yes, these three candles over here did not break my current high and current low. Only here it has broken. Then my trend will change. Can you check for IG Petro? Daily chart, Nikhil? Which time frame, my friend? What happened? Oh, I've got logged off. Refresh. Just a second, let me connect. Why is this not connecting? Just a second. Let's open up another Trade Tiger. Just a second. Minimize this, minimize the lab, close this, minimize this. OTA, yeah. Yeah, it was IG Petro, right? TTJ, IG. Just a second, friends, just a second. Yeah. So you want to know what is the trend on the daily. You guys tell me, what do you feel is the trend on the daily? What do you feel is the trend on the daily? I think up. What is the trend? What is the trend? This stock has formed a lower low, friends. Where is the lower high formed? This is best described sideways, and yes, it is a tricky example. You cannot take this as a lower high completely, friends. You will have to see how the candles form. Only a low has been formed right now. If some more candles suggest that this is an intermediate high, then only can you call this as a downtrend. Otherwise, this trend would be sideways right now because only a lower high is formed. Clear, everybody? Tricky. This was a tricky example. So let's do one thing. Let's do a lot more examples. I know some of you are learning trend for the first time. It can be tricky. So let's do some more examples as we go forward in the course of this week, so that you are absolutely thorough with the trend by the end of the week. Does that sound good to everybody? Yes, no, I don't know, Rahul. Fantastic, friends. I remind everybody, tomorrow you have to start at 9:15. You have to look for hourly, daily or weekly trades, be it in the entire Nifty 50, and try and mark where you can see good level for entry. Log into the lab at 12 o'clock and I want you to place those orders and I want you to get an entry. So if you need to get an entry, you need to do a lot of scanning. Yes, please don't take it lightly, friends. Make that effort for the last few days and plan out some good trades. All the rules and ammunition are with you. Of course, we have to learn a lot more, but you have a lot of ammunition with you to start making money. Yes, with that, I'll take your leave for today, guys. I hope all of you enjoyed the session. And I will mail it for sure, Monica. I'll ask IT to mail all of you. Yes, thank you so much, guys. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Let's meet each other tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a 2.5 hour session, friends. Tomorrow will be a 2.5 hour session from 1 to 3:30. We will continue because we want to do a lot of trading and analysis. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great evening and see you tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. Bye-bye.